Hey guys, go talk about CHNR. Um, I traded this and I traded one short and GXJT that I end up cutting in the pre-market. Talk about my shorts. I haven't really been catching any of the big fades this week and end of last week. It's been a lot of longs. Just clear. It's very clear that there's always huge opportunity on both sides. Um, this huge opportunity at pre-market going long and market open. Um, but it's very counterintuitive which longs are going to be the best longs. It's not very counterintuitive which shorts are the best shorts. They tend to be the stocks that are gapped up the most going into market open, stocks opening near their tops at market open, or just pre-market shorts. Just after parabolic moves. But the longs are a lot more counterintuitive because the longs, especially at market open, which in general I like the long either in the pre-market, preferably in the beginning of a move, which a lot of these moves are happening at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. So I'm not really doing a lot of pre-market longs. So that kind of leaves either market open longs or some type of manipulated long where, maybe it's a high day cloud short trap or something like that. And there's some type of manipulated kind of knife or pull that I think is really strong, or maybe it's a down halt that I think is strong. But I haven't really got any of those this week either. It's mostly been focusing on market open. I will say, yesterday I did try two market open longs and they both did not work. I had a red day yesterday. But I have some construction guys at my house and I wasn't able to make a video. But I'll tell you, I longed IINN and I longed some other name, and it didn't work. But this one did work. So CHNR. So everything gapped up today was manipulated China stuff. What you have to know about in this market is, the best market open longs are ones that are super bottomed out in their pre-market range, right? So here, this was like in the sixes and it opened up into 2.5. So this is, and not only that, look at how the structure's set up. Outside of this like little double top, it was, 4 hours of 60% down only fade, right? Just nothing but lower highs and lower lows. Um, and in low floats, these types of plays always have the most potential to kind of do a manipulated backside squeeze into all this empty space, right? Because it's nothing but lower highs and lower lows. Every long is going to shaken out 500 million times. Every short's in the money. You can chase any of these lower highs, and you're just continuously making money. Um, and yeah, so those tend to be the best ones. So, you know, the rigged market open long, I'm really looking for market open volume, which actually wasn't that big. Um, I'm actually not surprised this first long didn't work. This long I went long because I thought this was super bottomed out. It's a manipulated China name. The market open volume actually wasn't that impressive, but when it broke $3 here, there was a book flip on the book map where a $3 ask got taken out and was replaced by bids and a little bit of follow-up bids. So actually, that's what I longed, and it uphalted. But I actually sold some into the uphalt because I was afraid. Sometimes when the volume isn't very impressive, when volume is only like a couple 100,000 shares or something like that, you do risk fake uphalts where a stock gets stuck at the uphalt level. You see the bids on the level 2 stack, and then the bids get taken out and it slams, right? And in the right context, it could be bearish, right? So when I saw the volume wasn't super impressive on this, I was like, let me just sell some of my long because I was up like 10%. Um, and, let me see what happens out of the unhalt. And then unhalt opened lower, and I'm like, all right, let me just put a stop loss like at $3. I actually got executed a little under it, but at $3 to just to protect myself because my average was above $3. So I was like, you know what? In a strong market, there's always a chance that when a stock unhalts after an uphalt, it opens lower and rips, which is actually what happened here. This uphalted below high day, right? High day's over here. it up halted below it. It opened lower, and I said in my Discord, information down below about the Discord. But I said in my Discord that I was like, oh, I wonder if they're just going to rip it. So you open lower and rip. That's a classic kind of very counterintuitive thing that happens in low floats, especially in a strong market. But anyways, I got shaken out, and then it down halted. I'm like, man, like, is it is? And then everything else was fading at the open. GXJT and DXF. I was actually looking to short DXF. I wanted it to squeeze 1.6, and it only got up to 1.55 before it pulled, and I missed the short. Um, but uh, but it down halted, and then I was like, man, they shook me out. But I was like, it's like what? Um, there's a lot of times I've been long something and I've gotten shaken out only for the long that happened later, and it's usually because of some very counterintuitive type of pattern that happens. So, I was still looking at this. I got shaken out, but I was like, let me see what happens after the unhalt, and you'll see on the book, but they actually stacked a bunch of bids on the unhalt, and then they started following up with more bids. And I thought to myself, oh, it's interesting that these bids held down here and now it's rotating. Um, and then I was just like, I'm so bullish this structure. This was really like a 65% fade down only. I was like, this is really the type of market. And by the way, I was not expecting it to push up here. I was actually expecting it to push here, which is why I was selling some as it was pushing VWAP and up at 4.5s. I actually thought maybe they would push this level or this level, or just this level. You know what I mean? It's like usually in a normal market, it does like this, right? It does like this. It doesn't push 200 something percent from the lows, right? It just it takes out a few of these lower highs. Sometimes you don't even know which one, and then it pulls. But one thing that I shouldn't have done is I shouldn't have sold this one because the volume started really increasing. Like this uphalt was 300K, but this uphalt was like 700K. So now the volume's way more impressive. The structure is strong. This downhalt squeeze is strong. There's a bunch of super strong bullish factors, and I should have at least just held for this. And then the thing just started ripping, and I had no reason to sell just because every candle was just some monster green candle. Um, with it would do these like little knives, and then a bid would come in and just shoot it back up, and I was just watching it, and I was like, well, there's no really reason to sell. And then when it's up halted below high day, a lot of times it's very bullish, because a bunch of shorts are going to try to get out when it unhalts, especially if they're risking these highs. So I wasn't too worried about this opening lower because I was hoping it would squeeze. And then I actually just started selling the strength. I covered this in my previous videos that a lot of times, um, you need to start, on low floats, you never know, especially in this type of market, you never know when like you never know when the bids are going to thin up and like the 10-20% red candles are coming, right? So like once all the the pre-market shorts got squeezed, and this was all the way up here, right? Like you could see the book start to get real empty. This is just like this, crazy emotional, highly, you can see little bids push it up here, all these little bids. But then it starts to get like, if you zoom out, there's always a risk that A, stocks don't go up forever, and B, once the key levels have gotten squeezed and you start getting these crazy 10-15% green candles with no bids, real bids below them. In low float land, like it's not surprising. And I actually said in my Discord right at 10:13, I was like, I'm selling everything. I was like, this is already an amazing move. Granted, I was only holding, up to the seven, sixes and sevens and eights. I was only holding half my position, but it was such an insane move. I knew the bids were just not going to really be there to support the stock. And then, I ended up getting really lucky on where my sell was. You never know what, I thought maybe, maybe this up halted and opened at 10 or 12. You never know. So, So yeah, I just hit that long, and this is at least one of the this is one of the first 100% longs I hit this year. I hit a few last year, in a similar crazy market, similar bottomed out market open structure. Um, but yeah, I mean these are really if we look at the book, I mean these are really the types of plays that have the most potential long, and it's really not surprising why these types of plays fade. Now, as a little bonus, I'll tell you, GXJT. I actually thought um, this was like in the book actually didn't look that bad. I thought this was swiping all these lower highs. See all these lower highs. I thought this would like push towards 8 and then pull, but I ended up just getting out on this candle. What was interesting about this is that there was a hidden seller at 8.5 in the pre-market, which I actually thought might have been bullish because they kind of did this like 30% pullback here, and then there was a hidden seller holding it down, and I was actually kind of hoping the hidden seller it would open weak, maybe pull down here, and then rip back above at least this 8.5 guy, if not 9.5, somewhere up here where I can make a read. And it turns out this 8.5 guy never left. He was there during the pre-market. He was there at market open, and it went down only. So, I didn't get that one. And then DXF was kind of the other main one. It's funny. I was like, when I saw this consolidating with these lower highs, lower high, lower high, higher lows, it was like your flag. I actually thought this might push up to 1.4s and pull, and I was actually getting ready to short a push, and then it just it just went straight up. Like I didn't even need to press my short button because it literally just parabolic like 50 cents in 20 seconds. Um, but yeah, this one was interesting because you see that there's this like 1.6 level from these lower highs, and I told my Discord, I'm like, oh, they were like walking it down, which can be bullish because they walk it down and then they squeeze it. So when I saw this up halt, I'm like, oh, cool. It has this tight halt band manipulation. Maybe, of course, this is quite extended. This was like 30 cents and it went to 1.8, right? And I was like, oh man, maybe they up halt it, maybe even up halt it again, and then the short becomes up here, right? Below high day, above 1.6, and pull. And it turns out they just did it right away. And it went down. I didn't chase and it went down only. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of these short moves that I'm expecting certain levels to get broken, like 1.6 or maybe some 8.5 rotation here. Like there's a bunch of like key levels I keep marking, or even my CHNR backside. They had this big 50,000 share ask holding at $6 here. I was hoping it would maybe soak maybe 1 minute 200 or here, and then just push back above 6, and then we can make a play. But on these crazy overextended names that are up like 300 500%, a lot of them are not a lot of the moves have no bid support, right? So a lot of these up only moves have no real bid, which means once the momentum's gone, a lot of times they have trouble even finding a bid to fall back to for support. And then even if they do find a bid, a lot of them don't even have the liquidity to make any type of move back up here. And I've been seeing this, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like there's in terms of the shorts that I like, because I'm not really guessing where the top is. If I see a down only pullback, I'm expecting at least some type of support or base or higher low structure or some type of lower highs that could be pushed and squeezed on the backside, stuff like that. But right now, like none of that's really happening, right? So I'm actually really not in most of these shorts. And and I've been hitting some longs, hit some good longs this week. This one I thought was nice. Here's the video I didn't make yesterday. They put like 180,000 share ask at the top of this candle right here, and I actually thought it was a spoof. I thought they were faking the ask. And you can see the higher, lower high, lower high. You can see the painted lower highs. I thought they would pull it back to the 1 minute 200 and squeeze it, and I longed it in the 1.6s on this little pullback. Um, and it initially seemed to be, and the volume was okay. It initially seems to work, and then it just pulled and went straight down, right? So like, I just didn't believe this ask was legit right here, and it turns out it was very legit, and it faded 50% from where it faded 50% down only from market open. So turns out sometimes 100,000 share ask on the book is very bearish. Sometimes it's a fake out and sometimes it's not. So, anyways, um, yeah, this volatility, man. I'm gonna have to, when the market gets this crazy, which granted doesn't happen too often, um, but I gotta be a little, I gotta factor in the extension a little more and be a little more, um, open-minded to where the short might be. Uh, where in a normal market where things are only pushing, 50 to 150%, usually not a whole lot more than that. Things are finding support with bids, and you know that's when my type of shorting tends to work really well in low floats. When there's like clean structure and clear levels that could get targeted, but this week just the volatility is just a little insane, and it's not really supporting a lot of my short patterns. So, anyways, it's a video for today. Strong week. Kind of going back to some December volatility. Market's pumping, Bitcoin's pumping, low floats are pumping. Stuff is strong. So, all right. You guys have a good one. See ya.